Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 27th May 2022. Let's see which are the important articles. Yes, these are the relevant articles to our examination. First of all, we will take the overview of these articles. Let us understand the context, relevance to our syllabus here. First of all, mains related articles. On page number 8, editorial page, there is one article talking about the outcome of Quad Summit. Okay, so recently the Quad Summit happened. Our Prime Minister also participated this in-person summit in Tokyo, Japan. Okay, so the outcome is discussed here from GS2 paper IR section perspective. Okay, then on page number 12, there is one article talking about NSCN rigid as center pushes for solution. Okay, so this is National Socialist Council for Nagaland, Isak Mua, IM faction. Okay, Isak Mua faction, this particular political grouping, which let's say we can say it is the political representative of the insurgent groups in Nagaland, and there is continuous talk between government and these insurgent groups. Negotiations are going on, and let's say there are some disagreements here. Rigid, this particular grouping is demanding their separate flag and separate constitution for Nagaland. So the central government is not accepting this demand, and there is some kind of deadlock. GS3 paper, internal security part, insurgency in Northeast India. Okay, then India, Japan to work together to help Sri Lanka during crisis. So yes, this is also good development. We know economic crisis in Sri Lanka is going on, and since January we have extended around 3.5 billion rupees in terms of credit and other helps. So now Japan is also going to collaborate with India to extend help overcome Sri Lanka overcome this economic crisis. GS2 paper IR section. Learning loss will dent India's GDP. One of the finding by ADB, Asian Development Bank. So you can give reference to such kind of findings, how the learning loss during the pandemic will affect India's economic growth in future, also employment prospects. Okay, GS2 paper governance data part. Now, green hydrogen, fuel of the future. On text and context page, page number 10, the context of this article is recently our petroleum minister in one of the address in Davos, we can say World Economic Forum meeting is going on, summit is going on, and there our petroleum minister expressed that green hydrogen will be the fuel of tomorrow and India will be the leading country in that. So the article is explaining what is green hydrogen, what are at present the, let's say, how India is pursuing this green hydrogen production, what are the benefits, advantages also. Okay, so this is relevant to GS3 paper economy part. Okay, energy security or energy part. There is one article on page number 8 talking about measles and rubella disease. That article is not that much important, but basic about let's say the basic science, health science, we should know about this disease, measles and rubella disease. And on page number 7 there is one article, tortoise conservation at this Thorat Adukat Bhagwati temple. Okay, so which is this temple, where it is located in northern Kerala, we can say. So we'll find out the details of this, where the temple and the devotion aspect is used for the environmental conservation, tortoise conservation. Such kind of conservation is also there in Assam. Some of the temples in Assam there is tortoise conservation, and tortoise is considered as the incarnation of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. Okay, yes. So let us discuss these articles. Security in friendship. Quad grouping, quadrilateral, yes, quadrilateral security dialogue. In short, Quad. So there was in-person meeting in Tokyo, Japan. All 4 readers, and we have seen or had follow-up related to Indo-Pacific economic framework for prosperity. This was launched by US. India is going to participate in this 13-member we can say negotiations of this framework will happen in future. Now, while US and Japan were blunt in their condemnation of Russia's belligerence or let's say invasion of Ukraine, India and Australia avoided any direct reference to Russia. Okay. On China, however, 4 nations were on the same page. The final statement or the joint statement of this Quad called for continued cooperation towards maintaining free and open Indo-Pacific. First, championing adherence to international law as reflected in UN Convention on Law of Seas, and in maintaining freedom of navigation and overflight and meeting challenges to the maritime rule-based order, including in East and South China Seas. Basically, all these are directed towards China's aggressive stance in East and South China Sea.
Targeting China.
So all these 4 members are on the same page when we talk about China here. Okay. Now, the Quad leaders affirmed dialogue's 2 core messages. What are these? First of all, towards China. They continue to strongly oppose coercive, provocative and unilateral actions by China that seeks to change the status quo and heighten tensions across the region, Indo-Pacific region. Okay, first core message. And second message is beyond China, in other economic and strategic we can say relations, the members leveraging the dialogue members' resources in vaccine delivery, climate action, supply chain resilience, disaster response, cyber security infrastructure and economic cooperation. So other areas of cooperation we should know. Okay, so for China we know that there is, we can say, multilateral defense cooperation going on. The best example is Malabar exercise. And in 2020, Australia was also included in this exercise. Till 2020, it was trilateral exercise between India, US, Japan, and then Australia is also included. Now all navies of all 4 Quad members, they participated in this annual, we can say, naval exercise. So through that, some kind of defense cooperation is going on. It acts as a deterrence towards China, we can say, in Indo-Pacific region, because these exercises are carried out alternatively in Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. Once let's say, suppose this year it is in Indian Ocean, next year it will be carried out in Pacific Ocean. So whole Indo-Pacific region is covered here, and now 4 navies of these Quad members will participate. Okay, and in addition to this, we can say the economic cooperation and all these things, you can mention Indo-Pacific economic framework is being launched. So these members, along with other members of Southeast Asia, including New Zealand also, they will participate in the promotion of economic trade or international trade here. Fine? Okay, so GS2 paper IR section. Now, NSCN I am rigid as center pushes for solution. So, National Socialist Council for Nagaland. Okay, NSCN IM is Isak Mua faction. Okay, there are 2 major factions of NSCN, Isak Mua and Khaplang. Okay, so the government has been in talks with all these factions. In 2015, there was framework agreement signed between Indian government and this NSN, IM and other political groupings, we can say. Yes. So what is the problem here? Amid the renewed push for solution to the Naga political issue, NSCN Isak Mua said it will not settle for Naga national flag as a cultural flag as indicated by the government. Okay, so this is unique aspect you should know, that the peace process stagnated over the outfit's insistence on separate flag and Yezbo, the Naga constitution. Remember the name Yazabo is Naga constitution. They want separate constitution as a part of this deal and separate flag also. Recently, the government, let's say, is thinking of accepting this flag as a cultural flag and not the national flag. Giving it tag as a cultural flag. And cultural flag is fine because in India there is only one national flag. Giving a tag of another flag as a national flag will be questioning sovereignty of the nation. Okay, so that's why the government is thinking of giving it as tag as a cultural flag, but the IM faction of NSCM, it is not accepting this. That's why it is in news. Apart from Nagaland, the Nagas are scattered across Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur and Myanmar. Basically, Naga tribes are a group of tribes. Okay, group of different tribes, and they together constitutes Naga. The Naga insurgency started immediately after independence. We learn this in internal security part GS3 paper. Okay, so how the government initially resorted to repression, thereafter the dialogue and some kind of concessions. Okay, so yes, the NSCN is, we can say, some kind of rebellion group, and it was formed in 1980. 1985 में इसका factions जो है वो separate हुआ, IM and Khaplang. Khaplang is more rebellious at present. With both grouping, the government is having ceasefire agreement in 1997 with NSCN IM and later on with the Khaplang also. So the ceasefire agreement is there, but still there is some kind of parallel governments being run by the rebellion groups. Okay, so present situation. Now, India, Japan to work together to help Sri Lanka during crisis. So on the sidelines of Quad grouping, India-Japan meeting also happened, the leaders of two countries, and they agreed that the situation in Sri Lanka and confirmed that they will cooperate with each other in the light of current economic crisis and deterioration of humanitarian situation in the country. India has already extended the help of 3.5 billion assistance since January this year by the way of loan deferments and credit lines for essential imports. You should know that recently Sri Lanka has cancelled two important projects, infrastructure projects funded by Japan. Still Japan is agreeing to help Sri Lanka. Okay, so present government in Sri Lanka had, let's say, initiative comes despite Colombo scrapping two major infrastructure projects. In September 2020, Sri Lankan government ordered termination of $1.5 billion Japanese funded light rail project on the basis that it was not cost effective solution. In early 2021, last year, Sri Lanka ejected Japan India out of trilateral project of jointly developed container terminal at Colombo port. Okay, so this was also one issue. At that time, it was creating some kind of political tensions between India and Sri Lanka also. Later, Adani company was given the contract to develop another Colombo port. Okay, so this is the situation. You should be aware the background also. GS2 paper IR section. Now, learning loss will dent India's GDP. Asian Development Bank in one of the paper published recently has said that the gross domestic product of India, which among the countries with the longest school closures during the COVID-19 pandemic, will see the highest decline in South Asia due to learning losses. It is compared with other countries in South Asia and other developing and developed countries also. You can see India's learning loss or school closures were the highest among all these countries. Blue color, school closures, and full closures, this one, and partial closures. So partial closure was also highest along with full closure. Okay, so because of this there will be huge loss. Some facts are mentioned, starting with $10.5 billion dent in 2023. The country's economy could also take nearly $99 billion hit by 2030, translating into 3.19% reduction in GDP from the baseline. Okay, so we can write this fact in our answer essay paper and give reference to this finding here. Okay, so now learning and earning losses are significant because of notable portion of impacted population will migrate to unskilled labor force. This is also true because the productivity of the labor force will decline due to learning loss, and this will contribute to overall, let's say, GDP loss. The school closures lead to decline in global GDP and employment also. Some facts are mentioned. Decline in global GDP amount to 0.19% in 2024 and it will increase to 1.11% in 2030. So global loss is also there, but in India it will be more comparatively, learning loss. So you can use this data in GS2 paper, governance essay paper also. Green hydrogen. Okay, so why it is in news? Our Minister of Petroleum has said at Davos World Economic Forum summit is going on that India will emerge as leader of green hydrogen. At the same time, recently Oil India Limited commissioned India's first 99.9% pure green hydrogen plant in eastern Assam's Jorhat. So that's why again it is in news. Now what is green hydrogen? We all know about properties of hydrogen. Hydrogen is tasteless, colorless, odorless. We can say abundantly available and easily highly combustible, we can say, gas in our atmosphere. But the name green, the color coding that is given here, that is important for our prelims examination. Okay, so green, sometimes it is also called as blue or grey. Okay, so on the basis of the energy source that is used in the electrolysis process to produce hydrogen. Okay, on the basis of the energy source that is used to produce hydrogen from the electrolysis process, the color coding is given. Okay, so grey means basically it uses fossil fuels and they are dirty fuels. There will be emissions. Then the blue hydrogen is, again, the source is same, fossil fuels, but the emission, that is whatever the CO2 emission or other emissions that are happening, they are captured and they are stored. They are captured and they are stored. That's why it is called as blue hydrogen. And green hydrogen is basically from renewable energy sources. That's why the word. So there is no environment pollution caused. It is clean source. That's why green hydrogen. Okay, this is the wording. Now, why is India pursuing green hydrogen? We all know that India has committed through its Panchamrit at Glasgow Summit COP26 that by 2030 we will have 50% of its use of energy from renewable energy sources. This we have committed. Along with that, we want to reduce our CO2 or greenhouse gas emissions. At present, this is, we can say, overall at present India is responsible for 7% of CO2 or greenhouse gas emissions at world stage. We want to reduce it. So green hydrogen will be the way forward here because it is clean fuel. It will, we can say, for the production of this, it will not result into any environment pollution. And that's why India has launched National Hydrogen Mission in 2021, last year. National Hydrogen Mission, so as to produce the green hydrogen and utilize that green hydrogen in critical sectors of economy like steel plant, iron and steel plants, or transport sector. How much green hydrogen is India producing? At present, we can say it is very less. At present, it is less than 5%. Okay, majority of the green, let's say, hydrogen production is grey hydrogen production at present in India. So green hydrogen production is very less at present, and this new plant that is commissioned, it will produce. It is using 500 megawatt solar plant. On the basis of that plant, we can say green hydrogen is being produced. This plant is producing 10 kg of hydrogen per day. And we want to increase this to 30 kg of hydrogen, green hydrogen. Okay, at present this is just a start, and maybe in other parts of the country there will be new plants of green hydrogen. Then what are the advantages of green hydrogen? This is also important. Advantages, first and major advantage is that it is clean fuel, no carbon emissions. Also it uses renewable energy, so for the production also it is not using any fossil fuel. Third thing is that it will help in providing grid stability. Grid stability, at present we know renewable energy is intermittent. Intermittent solar energy only during day. There can be cloudiness also. Wind energy intermittent. So we can say grid stability is not there. Grid stability in a sense continuous supply of quality electricity. Okay, without we can say fluctuations. So that will be provided through this hydrogen, because hydrogen will be stored in cells. It will use fuel cells. Okay, so storage capacity will increase. Renewable energy can be stored in hydrogen cells, hydrogen fuel cells, and that will be later used for the transportation and other we can say applications. Right? So these are we can say some of the advantages. You can write this in answer. It can be asked in GS3 paper environment part also. Okay, economy and environment part. Now, measles and rubella. So yes, we all know that measles rubella vaccine is there against these diseases. Many times it is in news. So we'll cover this part from health science. Yes, measles is childhood infection by the virus. This is also by virus. Okay, viral infection is there. Now it is caused due to person transfer or transmission of this virus. Rubella passed on person to person. This is also highly contagious, person to person. It is found in nose and throat of an infected child or this virus. Now both of these diseases are having some kind of normal or medium term we can say severity, but it can become severe when, let's say, unborn babies whose mothers become infected during the pregnancy. This rubella. This rubella is also called as German measles or 3-day measles. Okay. So both of these diseases result into fever and red rash. Okay. Fever plus red rashes. And they are highly contagious. They are highly contagious, and that spreads through nose, throat, sneezing, coughs and sneezing. Okay. Now even if suppose the person is having deficiency in vitamin A in the diet, so that person can have severe symptoms and complications due to measles. Okay, so majority of the world population is having we can say the protection against this disease because the vaccine is available. Measles, mumps, rubella, MMR vaccine is given to the children twice before 5 years of age. Okay, so this provides sufficient protection against this disease throughout the life of the person. Okay, lifelong protection is given. Now, where tortoise conservation is devotion, Kerala's Kasaragod district, northern part of Kerala. Okay, so the protection is being given to tortoise species for several centuries. Devotees of Thorat Adukat Bhagavati temple in Molathakamu believe that offering rice to the tortoise will redeem them from their sins and cure their skin related ailments. although it is kind of, we can say, belief system, part of belief system, it is not scientifically proven, of course. The tortoise are protected and conserved in the naturally formed pond spread over 2 acres of temple land. Now we all know that Kurmavatara, Kurma means tortoise, right? Kurmavatara is considered as second of the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu, right? Tortoise emerge from the depth of the pool and eat rice offering kept at the steps of Mandapam at the sound of clap. Yes, so this is, we can say that where devotion is being used for the conservation purpose. They are considered as some kind of belief system, the incarnation of God. And even in Assam, you should know that there are some temples where some endangered species of tortoise are, vulnerable and endangered species of tortoise are conserved, protected. The same, we can say, devotion aspect. Okay, you can use this as a reference whenever we talk about protection to the species. It is our ancient traditional practice to protect, we can say, species. You can give the examples, this in Kerala, in Assam. You can give the example of how forests have been worshipped from time to time by the communities. वो सारी चीज़ें आप लिख सकते हैं यहाँ पर. Okay, fine. So these are the important articles. Okay, let us stop.